Can you help me understand a little something? What is the beef between Isiah Thomas and Michael Jordan? This feud has been going on for a very long time. I've seen it back and forth.
Yep.
I mean, I still don't understand what the beef is about.
Reportedly, allegedly, Isiah was the lead that froze Jordan out in his first All-Star game.
Huh?
That's what the reports were. Then, when the Bulls finally took down the Pistons, they rushed off the court. They didn't shake Jordan's hand.
Okay.
Jordan then, in turn, it is reported, I think Sam Smith wrote in the book that Jordan agreed to be on the Dream Team as long as Isiah wasn't on the team.
Okay.
Well, the biggest star in the world was Michael Jordan. You want him on the team.
Right.
Isiah deserved to be on the team. Isiah is a better point guard than John Stockton. So they've been going at it ever since.
Well, that's petty.
And it doesn't seem that it's ending anytime soon.
Picture this. You've got 2 NBA championship rings, a finals MVP, a Hall of Fame career, and a resume so stacked it puts you among the greatest point guards to ever touch the court. Yet somehow, all that glory still feels unfinished because one man decided you didn't belong on the most legendary basketball squad ever built, the 1992 Dream Team. That's the world Isiah Thomas lives in today. And it's the reason he still can't stop bringing up Michael Jordan's name decades after both men hung up their jerseys. What's going on between Isiah Thomas and Michael Jordan isn't some ordinary NBA feud. This thing is stretched across generations. Their rivalry didn't stop when the final buzzer sounded. It turned into a quiet war that's lasted longer than their actual careers. Shannon Sharpe recently broke it all down, exposing exactly why Isiah keeps talking about Jordan with that same sharp tone in his voice. The truth behind it all is way deeper than basketball. It's about what happens when your entire legacy gets written by people who weren't even in your shoes, and when the story gets told without your side being heard. Isiah recently appeared on Running It Back, and when the hosts asked about the GOAT debate, he didn't hold back. Instead of playing it safe, he came swinging at a whole generation of players who keep hyping up Jordan while ignoring LeBron James, the guy who dominates nearly every major stat in NBA history. Thomas called them out, asking why everyone keeps looking backwards instead of celebrating the greatness happening right now. And then Isiah Thomas dropped that line, the one that had everyone's jaw on the floor. He said, when y'all talk about the greatest, y'all talk about the guy that gave you some shoes. That wasn't just a slick comment. It was a direct shot fired right at Michael Jordan. You could feel the bitterness in his voice, the kind that only comes from old wounds that never healed.
Isiah said, until he gives me an apology, it ain't never gonna end.
Well, you know, I don't think Mike's gonna be the one to apologize. Mike probably
Mike ain't
really
apologizing for Ish. I sure hope he ain't waiting on that.
Well,
I sure hope he ain't
hey,
waiting on that apology.
hey, it's a weird feud, but it's one-sided though. Because I ain't heard Mike say nothing. I doubt
Mike ain't gonna say nothing. Not publicly.
Right.
When Shannon Sharpe broke this moment down on his show, his co-host asked the question the whole basketball world's been asking for decades. What really went down between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas? Sharpe, who's actually close friends with Thomas and has had him on his show several times, gave an explanation that went way beyond gossip. His breakdown didn't just revisit the timeline. It revealed why, even after 30 years, Isiah still can't let this go. This beef goes way deeper than just competition on the court. It's about something that cuts into a man's pride, respect, recognition, and that one missing piece in an otherwise flawless career. That's the real reason this whole thing still stings. To truly understand it, you've got to rewind to 1985, Michael Jordan's very first All-Star game. Back then, MJ was the flashy new kid everyone couldn't stop talking about, the rising superstar threatening to take over the league. Meanwhile, Isiah was already that guy, the leader of the Detroit Pistons, established, respected, and running things. According to reports, that's when Isiah allegedly pulled off the infamous freeze-out. The plan? Cold and calculated. Don't pass the rookie the ball. Let him struggle. Let him look out of place on the biggest stage in front of millions. Jordan ended that game with just 7 points in 22 minutes. And whether the story happened exactly like that or not, it lit the spark that never went out. Didn't matter whether it really happened, because Michael Jordan believed it did, and that belief changed everything that came next. From that moment on, the rivalry turned into war. The Detroit Pistons and the Chicago Bulls clashed over and over, and for 3 straight years, the Pistons owned Jordan's team, roughing him up with a brutal, body-slamming defense built specifically to stop him.
That's the only thing that's missing on his resume, is that Olympic, that dream team, and he knows he's supposed to have been on that team.
But that doesn't take away from everything he's accomplished, huh? It doesn't.
When they talk about what they talk about, Ocho, they talk about you got the Redeem Team 1, you got Redeem Team 2,
right?
But everything spurs off the Dream Team,
right?
He's not a part of that.
They called it the Jordan Rules, a defensive system so wild and aggressive that in today's NBA, half the team would have been ejected before halftime. And leading that charge was none other than Isiah Thomas, the Pistons' fearless floor general and emotional fire starter. He wasn't just running plays, he was setting the tone, making sure Jordan felt every hit, every block, every message they sent his way. But the moment everything broke beyond repair came in 1991. The Bulls finally got their revenge, sweeping the Pistons 4-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. With just 7.9 seconds left on the clock in that final game, Isiah made a move that became basketball legend, or infamy, depending on who you ask. He led his whole team straight off the court. No handshakes, no nods, no respect shown to Jordan or any Bulls player. That wasn't just frustration after a loss. It was a statement, a cold public display of disrespect seen by millions and replayed endlessly on TV. Michael Jordan never forgot it. According to Shannon Sharpe's breakdown, that single walk-off burned into Michael Jordan's memory and sealed Isiah's fate for what was coming next. Because just 1 year later, the 1992 Olympics were on the corner, and the NBA was about to send its first ever dream team to Barcelona. This wasn't some random squad. It was the greatest lineup of basketball talent ever assembled. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and of course, Michael Jordan right at the top of his game. And here's the kicker. Isiah Thomas was one of the best point guards alive at that time, rocking 2 championship rings and a finals MVP. He should have been a lock for that roster, but history had other plans. There was no basketball reason to leave Isiah Thomas off that dream team roster, none at all. The man had the numbers, the rings, the respect, and the resume to back it all up. But according to the reports Shannon Sharpe mentioned on his show, one powerful voice made sure it didn't happen. Michael Jordan supposedly told the selection committee, "If Thomas makes the team, count me out." That one line flipped everything. The committee had to choose the biggest global superstar in the game or Isiah Thomas. And when it came down to it, they sided with Jordan. So instead of Isiah, the point guard slot went to John Stockton. And while Stockton was great, everyone watching back then knew what Sharpe said out loud. Isiah Thomas was the better point guard, faster, tougher, more decorated, and built for the big stage.
Sharpe then broke down something that finally explains why this still eats away at Isiah after all these years. Just look at what the man achieved. 2 NBA championships, a finals MVP, an NCAA championship, and the title of most outstanding player in the 1981 NCAA tournament when his Indiana squad took down North Carolina. Add in his All-Star nods and Hall of Fame induction, and you've got a career that looks flawless on paper. But even with all that, there's one thing missing, and it's a huge one. Isiah Thomas never got that Olympic gold medal, and that means he never became part of the Dream Team history. For a legend like him, that's not just a small gap, that's a piece of legacy ripped right out of his story. Sharpe reminded everyone that Isiah actually lost 2 Olympic chances through no fault of his own. His first shot, the 1980 Moscow Games, was wiped away when the U.S. boycotted because of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. That decision killed his Olympic dream once, and then politics and pride killed it again in 1992. Then came 1992, Isiah Thomas's golden chance to finally grab that Olympic dream he'd been chasing for years. But once again, it slipped right through his fingers. Why? Because, as Shannon Sharpe put it on his show, Michael Jordan blocked it. Sharpe says straight up, that's the only thing missing from his resume, that Olympic gold, that dream team spot. And he knows he was supposed to be on that team. You could feel the sting in those words. Sharpe's take hits the core of what makes this wound so deep for Isiah. When people talk about the legacy of USA basketball, every single conversation circles back to that 1992 Dream Team. It wasn't just a basketball roster, it was a cultural earthquake. Sure, the 2008 Redeem Team and the 2012 squad get their respect, but they'll always be remembered as side notes to the unstoppable magic that went down in Barcelona. That Dream Team didn't just dominate the game, it changed the game. It turned basketball into a global phenomenon, inspiring millions across the world. And yet, Isiah Thomas, one of the greatest point guards ever, isn't part of that legendary story. You won't see him in the documentaries, you won't hear his name in retrospectives, and you won't find him in the endless debates about that iconic team. He's been erased from that chapter, not because his game wasn't elite enough, but because one man, Michael Jordan, said no. And when someone asked Shannon Sharpe if an apology from Jordan would finally bring Isiah peace, his answer said everything. Sharpe replied, "I guess he feels that man has impugned his reputation. An apology wouldn't rewrite history or hand him a gold medal, but it would mean everything. It would admit that what went down wasn't about basketball strategy or skill, it was personal payback." What makes this whole feud feel so one-sided and, according to Shannon Sharpe, so infuriating for Isiah Thomas is the simple fact that Michael Jordan has never said a single word about it. Sharpe pointed it out clearly on his show, saying, "I ain't heard Mike say nothing, and that ain't how he operates." And he's right. Jordan doesn't do public drama. He doesn't clap back, doesn't explain, and definitely doesn't apologize. His silence is his weapon, and it speaks louder than any quote ever could. Every time Isiah brings up Jordan's name, every time he drops another comment like the one he made on running it back, Jordan's refusal to respond makes him look untouchable, calm, cool, and completely unbothered. Meanwhile, it leaves Isiah looking like the one who can't let go, the one still fighting a battle that ended decades ago. Sharpe even joked about it, saying he hopes Thomas is still waiting for that apology, because in his words, the idea of Michael Jordan apologizing to Isiah Thomas is about as likely as Jordan admitting LeBron is better. That's never happening. Sharpe knows it. Deep down, Isiah probably does too. That doesn't stop the frustration or the fire that keeps this story alive. What makes Sharpe's breakdown hit even harder is his personal connection to Isiah. They've talked on camera and off, and Sharpe genuinely respects him. He's had Thomas on his show multiple times, and every conversation shows a different side of the man, not just the angry ex-player the media paints him as. Sharpe described Isiah as thoughtful, insightful, and incredibly knowledgeable, not just about basketball, but all sports. It's clear this isn't about bitterness alone. It's about legacy, pride, and a man who built everything he had only to feel like one of the biggest chapters in basketball history got written without his name on it. Shannon Sharpe made it clear. Isiah Thomas isn't just some name he's analyzing from afar. He's talking about a man he actually knows and respects. Sharpe even said Isiah loves football almost as much as basketball, and that connection matters, because this isn't coming from some random commentator taking cheap shots. This isn't gossip or a hit piece. It's coming from someone who's seen both sides up close and understands the full story. Sharpe gets it. He knows exactly why Isiah feels betrayed. He agrees that leaving him off the Dream Team was unfair, maybe even downright wrong. He believes Isiah's legacy should have felt complete. 2 NBA titles, a Finals MVP, a Hall of Fame career, the whole package. But there's also a sense that Sharpe thinks Isiah's pain is turned into something heavier, that holding on to all that anger for so long only ends up hurting himself, not the man it's aimed at. Through his breakdown, Sharpe exposed something deeper about how sports legacies really work. Winning doesn't automatically heal the wounds. Championships don't guarantee peace of mind. You can be one of the greatest to ever touch the ball and still feel like something's missing, like your story's not finished, no matter how many trophies are in your case. Sometimes what haunts legends isn't the games they lost or the plays they missed, it's what was taken from them. It's the moments that slipped away because of politics, power, or personal grudges. It's knowing you earned something fair and square, but someone else decided you didn't deserve it.
And that's exactly what Isiah Thomas lives with today. He looks back on his career, the rings, the records, the glory, and still sees that one missing piece. That one team photo from 1992 that should have had him standing there shoulder to shoulder with the greatest ever. But it doesn't, because deep down, Isiah knows the truth. Everyone else does too. It's not that his game wasn't good enough.
It's because Michael Jordan said no, and nobody in that room was willing to say no to Michael Jordan. Shannon Sharpe's breakdown leaves us with a question that may never have a clear answer. Did Michael Jordan actually have the right to keep Isiah Thomas off that legendary dream team? From Jordan's point of view, it wasn't just about basketball politics, it was personal. The Pistons, under Thomas's leadership, played a brand of basketball that went way past rough. It was punishing. In Jordan's eyes, they weren't just defending the rim, they were trying to take him out. The Jordan rules weren't your standard defensive game plan. They were crafted to hurt him, to wear him down, to make sure he never finished games the same way he started them. So from Jordan's side, it's simple. Why should he have to wear the same jersey, fight for the same flag, and share the same locker room with a man who spent years trying to break him physically and mentally? But on Isiah's side, it's a whole different story. From his perspective, it was never personal, it was business. The Pistons were doing what every champion does, protecting their throne. They were physical because that's what worked, that's what got them 2 titles, that's what kept them on top. In his mind, once the games are over, you leave it on the court. You don't let grudges follow you for decades, especially not ones that erase someone's place in history. Sharpe doesn't take sides, he just lays it all out, raw and honest. He lets the audience see why Isiah still says Jordan's name with that sting in his voice even after 30 years of retirement. Thomas once said he won't let this go until Jordan apologizes, and Sharpe's reaction on his show said it all. He admitted, if I was him, I'd be like, man, it is what it is. My legacy is cemented. All my accomplishments, my resume, it is what it is. But that's the painful truth about sports legacies. They're never completely in your control. No matter how many championships you win or how many records you break, someone else can still shape how your story gets told. Isiah Thomas earned everything: 2 NBA titles, a Finals MVP, a Hall of Fame career, and his place among the greatest point guards to ever live. Yet even with all that, one missing photo, one erased moment still defines the shadow over his legacy. When people talk about basketball in the 1990s, one name always steals the spotlight: Michael Jordan. He dominates every conversation, every memory, every highlight reel. And when it comes to USA basketball, the first thing that always comes up is the dream team. But here's the painful truth: Isiah Thomas exists outside both of those legendary stories. Not because he wasn't good enough, not because he failed, but because Jordan made sure he wouldn't be part of either chapter. What Shannon Sharpe's breakdown exposed goes way deeper than just a beef between 2 retired players. It's a reminder of how power really works in sports, how your legacy isn't always built by talent alone, but by the politics and personalities behind the scenes. It's about how even greatness can get rewritten when someone bigger, louder, and more influential decides to hold the pen. And sometimes those scars never heal, not when the person who cut you never admits they did it. So here we are, decades later, Thomas still talking, still fighting to reclaim his place in basketball history, and Jordan still silent, because that silence is the message. It tells everyone who really won that battle, without a single word being said. And the rest of us, we just keep watching this Cold War drag on year after year, knowing that sometimes even being one of the greatest ever still isn't enough, not if the greatest of all time decides you don't belong in the conversation. If you made it this far, make sure to like, share, and drop a comment with your thoughts on this legendary feud. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next breakdown. We've got more wild stories coming your way soon. See you in the next video.